stream, the talk, the discussion, and the appreciation of Lewis Wain uh, and his life, and maybe a bit of his legacy. Um,
Mhm,
there's the very recently found out that there was a whole Benedict Cumberbatch movie biopic of him, which
mhm.
definitely merits a watch at some point. Uh, and
Yeah, I've never seen it, and
yeah,
I've known about Louis Wain for a while.
yeah, apparently came out a few years ago too. But it looks like they did him some justice, at least portraying him as the sort of the kind and interesting person that he was. Uh, so to
Mm,
start off, Louis Wayne is known for, if he's known for like one thing in particular, it is this illustration that he did very late in his life when he was after being institutionalized by his sisters. It was the last published illustration that he did, and I think
mhm.
this is why I know of him. And
Yeah.
good,
Oh, no, yeah, it's my favorite work by him, and I think it's a lot of people's favorite work by him as well.
yeah. And there's a lot to it that we'll definitely talk about when we get there. We're gonna kind of like I just want to introduce this because this is really like the Lewis Wayne work. If we
Mhm.
had to pick one, I think it would be this one.
Yeah.
um, which is interesting because, like with Goya, they had like Lewis Wayne had a long career. He was an artist his entire life, and the very last published work that he had is the one is like his legacy, and it was very similar for Goya. Goya, Saturn devouring his young was painted on the walls of his house like after he had like ceased to be a professional artist, um,
Mhm.
very shortly before his death, and I just find that very interesting. Like the way that like a lifetimes of craft and life experience uh going into sort of the final work, um
Yeah.
and that being their legacy, I feel like is pretty cool because
Mm,
at least for musicians, you think of like contemporary artists, often it's like a one hit song that they have early in their career and they have to play it for the next 40 years because that's all anyone wants to hear. um
right.
yeah, but for these artists, like Lil Wayne and Goya, it's really interesting that like you would hope as an artist, maybe this gives me a little hope. You would hope as an artist that you just continue to get better, right? At
Yeah.
your craft, even in ways that maybe people can't see, but for your
Yeah,
entire life, yeah,
I mean, I have opinions. I have opinions on, like, of course, improving is good and all, but I think art means so much more than just technical skill.
yeah,
Uh, and I just think, you know, his final work might be not his like most technically impressive work.
yeah,
Um, it's still it has so much to there's so much that goes with it that I think it is very worthy of. And I think to me personally, more art is more powerful when it's that way, like regardless of skill or not. Like,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Uh,
yeah, it's the context. I'm a big proponent of like context being really important to art.
right, yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think that speaks to my pet definition of art, right? Uh, Craft plus intention.
Hmm.
Uh, that is definitely like my pet definition of art. When I was in philosophy, of philosophy of aesthetics, I wrote that like it was supposed to be kind of a joke, like okay, make a definition of art, but I wrote like 10 pages like defending this, and like I feel like when thinking about like what if this there's a lot that goes into this, including like very you know very intuitive use of different colors, choosing tones like to express feelings, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
maybe this paper is yellowed by age, but if the paper is toned, the toning of the paper, everything like that, composition, um, that's all an expression of mastery of the craft. Um,
Hmm.
Peeling away the layers of like the layers of like drawing straight lines, hatching beautifully or perfectly or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The choosing a composition and colors and everything. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all here. But this man also, after a lifetime, feeling everything he had to deal with, had so much weight to his emotions and his personal history. I feel like it was there. There's so much conveyed through that picture.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about like the story of his life at that time too. I like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the context of his life fed into that. The like intention behind that, or, like the
Absolutely.
attitude that he approached that work with. It feels like a summary of his life, you know. And
Yeah.
I think hi Prince Anime, hi. Good to see you. Thank you for
Hi.
being here. Um, yeah, it feels like once you learn about his life, and what was going on in his life at the time, uh, even just looking at it, you can feel like it's like so it's he meant this as like a pure expression of joy, but there's something so bittersweet about it. Um, that like it, I saw it, and it made me like tear up, and knowing nothing about his life.
It made me happy.
Yeah.
Although I do hear a lot of people see this and it makes them sad for some, but it always
Um.
has made me smile.
Yeah. No, it does, but like it has a there's an element to it for me where it's like an expression of pure joy, but there's like busy for the next hour, but I hope you can catch some of this. Thank you so much for being here at all. It's awesome. I appreciate you being
Yeah.
here. Um, but there's something about this that is like he is so happy, but it tells me that he's happy in the face of adversity.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like there's context to this,
Right,
and it kind of like lets it informs you of
right,
like you know he made it for a reason, so the
exactly.
implications, right,
Hmm.
that it gives, I can understand as being like can evoke like
Uh, yeah. Uh,
hardship, like
hmm. It's about like perseverance. It's like nothing negative, but like just looking at
mhm.
it, the text, the handwriting. I'll talk about it a lot more when we get there.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, he's known for these sort of uh, these cat illustrations that he did throughout his life. Uh, there's more to his work than that. Like realistically, if you don't know him for I am happy because everyone loves me, you've like people may have just seen some of the like I don't know thousands of cat illustrations that he done that have just been like propagated in children's books and on the internet. Probably some of them ended up as like memes, shit posts. Who knows, right? But this style of illustration and this subject matter of like anthropomorphized cats is like this is definitely like the genre that he's known
Yeah.
that he's known to known for having worked in, even though
Yeah.
he also did other media and such.
It's what made him famous.
Hmm. Absolutely, that's what made it famous. Hmm. It's just a great way to sum it up.
Hmm.
Um, but when did he live? We'll start his biography now. Uh, he was we'll say born, and this is just the main reason I would like want to talk about an artist's biography at all is to think of the different contexts that their different works um were came about it because and I think this is me being pretentious and I'll be the first to say that um I think of the art as growing out of the artist and the context of their lives is like the soil, you know, part of like
Hmm.
the describes the richness of the soil, and we know where in the development of this artist's growth did you know these works come out of them,
Absolutely.
right?
Uh,
So the like the biography is I think important for that, and it's not important because like dates are not important. Like
mhm.
like
It's more so about like what is happening in his life at the time because
hmm
life informs art.
exactly. I completely agree with you in that like the context of art matters. So
Hmm.
um, So uh, he was born in 1860, and when we talk about his age, or the year that certain works were produced, this is a very important like thing to remember, right? Like if we're doing some quick mental math, you know, uh, we'll like this is the year he was born. Um,
Mhm.
Part of me thinks it might be interesting for some artists to do like a, like like an astrology birth chart, but that's really just like a that's just like not for one of these streams, but I think that might be
No, but that
wouldn't that like
that
do
would
you
be
think that'd be
cool.
interesting, right? It's just like
Yeah.
if we have that data, like and then go through their work or like their life and think, well, so maybe there's something to
Yeah.
this, or like different
Yeah.
artists that have like similar birth.
Analyze them that way.
Yeah, exactly. In that context, I think that might be very very fun, very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but for now, just talking about Lewis Wain's life and times. He was born in 1860 in London, so
Mhm.
Victorian England, before World War One. So this was, in a way, the height of a certain kind of culture, a certain epoch, um,
Mhm.
uh, where maybe the what some of his contemporaries may have considered frivolous, what like the kind of context that a man who wants to draw funny little cats um, could flourish in, where
Right.
people
Well, it's oh, I'm sorry.
were like in Victorian England, there were like lots of hardships. People needed their funny cats, but uh, also it was a time when people were coming to value their pets, and you know cats, they were receptive to this kind of art. Hi, Muffin. Hi, thanks for coming by. Good to see you.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, they were uh he did a lot for the image of cats, because cats in particular were not um they were seen as like utility animals or pests, or like they fed on um filthy things and were seen as bad omens. But this time in Victorian England before the First World War, um there were many hardships, but there was also a certain amount of stability.
Oh yeah, and also I wanted to mention that he
Hmm.
did draw the cats partaking in a lot of like Edwardian society.
Right.
So they'd be like playing games and stuff, and I think that's what connected people to them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Hmm. And so he was a.
so
I think that's very good to note. Um, Especially as we get a little further into his life and career. Um, but this cultural context of um, pre-World War I England, it definitely informs a lot of his work. So something good to know. But he was born in 1860. Um, his father was his father was named William. And if there's like a that's like a John Smith kind of name, William the English textile trader. So he like a tradesman, basically, just like pretty humble kind of profession. Someone who kind of just sold cloth, or uh, things to make cloth, and that sort of thing. Um, and that was his father, right? And his mother, uh, Julie, who uh, who embroidered for uh, like church work, which is very very interesting. She was an embroiderer, but specifically um, worked like for a church or with churches, uh, which tells me, a little later, we'll talk about how he went to a Catholic school. There was an element of Christianity. Was not at like the front, was not centered in his life, but it is such a like we'll see it as like a prominent background element, right? And you know this because you know a little bit about a little bit about his life and work. But as you go through his life, you'll see that several like several significant events um, related to his work happen around what the most important holiday in Christianity.
Mhm.
Um, well, one of them, right? One of the most like it's like top 3.
Yeah.
It's like top 3, right? Um,
Yeah.
so and the first time we see this in his biography is like the fact that his mother was like an embroiderer for churches.
Hmm.
Yeah, I find that, and I think this is going to
Yeah.
go ahead.
I hadn't made that connection before, but that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of many artists come from artistic families, right? Like uh, their fathers or mothers or someone very close to them a generation back was some kind of artist, right? Um,
Mhm.
and we don't see that so explicitly in Wain, but we do see that an embroiderer. This is a tactile, trade-oriented form of art, but this is very much an art form, right? This is
Mhm.
like I don't think anyone would argue otherwise, right? So we do have some direct uh, in terms of his like immediate family, right? His parents, one of them was basically an artist by trade. Um, uh, his mother was French born, by the way. So the French artist of a mother is kind of getting set up for some in this era, getting set up for some kind of artistic career or education. Also, his uh, maternal grandfather, so Julie's dad, his his Julie's dad was an artist by trade. An artist by trade. So um, his maternal grandfather, I don't believe they had much of a relationship. And if I'm wrong, I mean, fuck me, I guess. But um, but even not having like a, I don't mean they had much of a relationship in the sense that like didn't um didn't teach Lewis,
Mhm.
uh, didn't give him guide his career, didn't give him career guidance.
Mhm.
But there is some amount of heritability, I guess. It's sort of like kind of in for some people it's sort of in their blood, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
He also had 5 sisters.
yeah, that is the very next important fact about him. So all this in mind, uh, he was he had 5 uh, younger sisters. So
Mhm.
he
Yeah,
was
he was the
he
oldest.
yeah, holy moly, 5 younger sisters. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, imagine 5 Denkos.
5 then.
A
Oh,
whole
Jesus
a
Christ.
whole litter of Denkos. Yeah, just
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
think of a whole litter of Denkos, and think of the unfortunate fact sorry, that we know that it's very common knowledge that Louis Wain had um, issues with his mental health late in life. That is also something that is very heritable. So it may have been quite a scene in the Wayne household with 6 children, 5 of whom are girls, and
Mhm.
all of them have a little bit of that artistic spark, maybe some of that autistic spark. Um,
I believe I read that actually 2 of them were artists.
yeah, two of them did grow up to be artists, and I think that's fascinating. I wish I'd
Yeah.
had the presence of mind to look and look out for some of their works, right? To like
Mhm.
look up their names or something.
Mhm.
And if you want to do that at any point, like feel free, like right.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
mhm. uh, so yeah, he was the first of 6. First of 6. And his 5 younger siblings were all uh girls.
Mm.
Uh, what an experience. But there was something. I think this may also have contributed to like obviously him as a person, but right, um, being the first of 6 and having um, all sisters, if we look at the subject matter of Wayne's work, it speaks to a man who is okay with expressing a little softness, right?
Mhm.
A man who was like, I think it's a little crude to say like in touch with his femininity, but he was
Mhm.
just like he was totally fine, um, drawing pictures of cute cats and putting them in silly and being silly, and that's something I think a
Mhm.
lot of guys, if they lack um, a feminine influence
Mhm.
um, in some way, then they end up like going way too hard into the like hyper masculine kind of like where
Yeah.
to the point where it gets performative. It's like you kind of need like some either women or feminine like present people in your life who like kind of show you like, dude, it's okay, like you can draw pictures of cute cats and like you can like
Yeah.
enjoy them. And I think the fact that he had so many sisters, if we're going to think about like in the context of his art, right, his whole life
Mhm.
is like I'm presenting it in the context of his like, how did it inform his work,
Yeah.
you know
And he didn't there's a reason why he mostly drew cats, but he also drew other animals too.
right, right.
But mainly cats.
Hmm.
But like at the time, yeah, I definitely see what you mean with the not being like necessarily being an effeminate thing, but like being more soft.
Yeah,
Because he was around, women and stuff, I think is definitely like because at the time a lot of people really like dogs and like which
right.
is, interesting. Like dogs were the masculine, dogs were the hunters, dogs were the,
Hmm.
you know,
they were
and
they
cats were like,
mhm.
not that.
Right, right. The dogs were at the in this cultural context, dogs were like they were as they were like admired, right? Because you have all kinds of dogs, right? But
Mhm.
as the dogs as like an object of admiration was noble, stoic, hunt like steadfast, like a protector, a very like archetypally masculine adjectives, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I do find that very interesting that you point that
Mhm.
out. Like
Yeah.
in contrast to um what a lot of his body of work and
Mhm.
not only in art but in his life, right? He
Yeah.
really he just really fucking liked cats and I think that's awesome. But when he was even though he was the eldest son, the eldest and son, he was the cleft lipped, born with a cleft lip and uh just a matter of fact when they got 6 kids uh and you're not rich. Not rich. Uh, they were a textile trader, like someone who sold cloth basically, and someone who embroidered. Like they were not a wealthy family. So
Mhm.
um, Lewis Wain did not receive like a you know top class education. He didn't even go to school until he was uh, started his schooling at 10.
Mhm.
So he didn't receive any education. He didn't receive an education in his letters and all that. Whatever you might call it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that didn't happen until then. He was. I'm not gonna say he was just vibing, but he was being a kid, maybe helping take care of his younger sisters as he got a little older, and like was able to help with some household chores. It's his life really.
Mhm.
Um, but when he did start his schooling, and this is somewhere I can empathize, uh, he ditched class a lot. Ditched class. He was not a good student. He was often truant, just wouldn't show up. There's nothing about his behavior as being like belligerent or like he wasn't a problem child, except the fact that he just didn't want to be in school. He just didn't. He's just uh, you know, maybe he couldn't sit
Mhm.
still. Maybe he just wanted to. He would go like hunting for bugs. Is something that he was found doing when he should have been at school. He was just like, yeah,
Relatable.
yeah, right. Because I mean, honestly, like especially the way that, like Victorian England. I don't know if you've ever seen like their the way that they taught. kids back then, but it would be like, here is your here is your thing. You need to learn this. Um, to learn this, uh, write it out like one fucking million times.
Right.
That's how
Yeah.
like school is taught. And if you have like a kid who's like he's from a big family, he like wasn't educated. He didn't have like these tutors that like maybe higher class people would have had to like sit him down and teach him, discipline him. And he, we know that like he comes from a family with like an artistic bent, right? They have a certain like, there's just like a different kind of energy there. It's not this like sit down, button down, stiff upper lip, kind of thing going on.
Mhm.
Why would someone like that want to just sit and write out your lessons this fucking many times? Like, no, that's torture. Um,
Mhm.
so he would ditch class, and I say that also because when he ditched class, sometimes he would go to lectures. And keep in mind, at this time, he's like between 10 and 13. He would sneak into lectures at the Royal Polytechnic Institution, like a a university or like an education that is like very well above what they probably thought he should have been doing at 10. But
Mhm.
uh, so it shows that like Lucian was like a curious and interested person who would just who liked wandered around and stuck his nose in things and hunted bugs. And how interesting and almost cat-like is that sort of behavior, right?
Yeah.
Just like wandering it, poke his head into like some lecture hall, and then just like go in there when he's just this little kid who's like, this is all before he's 13. um, and I find it very interesting, and kind of fun to characterize it that way as being almost cat-like, just like
Mhm.
kind of going where he is compelled to go.
Yeah.
Um, so in 1873, so he's like 13 by now.
Mhm.
He started at attending a Catholic school,
Mhm.
and he attended for like 3 years, right? So from
Mhm.
13 to 16. And there's I didn't read a lot about uh his time in the Catholic school, but I assume he still wasn't the best student. Especially
Mhm.
like because you have school and then you have Catholic school, and Catholic school is like everything you don't like about school. Just turn it up a little bit because you've got you've got some very grave nuns in charge of things, and yeah, everything that you find fun probably a sin, um, or at least a waste of time, right? But he
Mhm.
did attend for 3 years. Um, but more important, his life, I'd say, kind of really started after that, though,
Mhm.
because um, in 1876 or 77, uh, he he began to answer his calling. Right, he went
Mhm.
to the West London School of Art,
Mhm.
and that is like that is where to me it feels like Lewis Wain, like this is where we like start to see Lewis Wain, the man who the artist who he would become. Um,
Mhm.
although it is, we talked about how his like family life and history might have informed his career. It was
Mhm.
when he started at that school, he did a full course. You know, uh, he was born to be an artist for sure. Because he
Mhm.
he attended the West London School of Art, and then uh, graduated or finished his course, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
and then immediately uh, became an assistant master after graduating.
Mm-hmm.
he became an assistant master at the school of art. And why do I like emphasize that? Uh, because how many people like probably graduated from that school? How many people went through the courses at that school, like on a regular basis? Um, and someone who like by this time he was maybe 20, um, was proficient enough and well regarded enough to become an assistant master immediately after graduating. I think that's um, there's not a lot about this, but I find it to be a very impressive feat.
Mm.
Um, and I just uh, like that. I don't know. This guy was just born to be an artist. And
Mm-hmm.
but when he did graduate from this school, uh, he wasn't the Lewis Wain that we'd come to know. Um, this was probably around 18 1880 to 1881. Um, and this all contextualizes the first work that I have to present, um,
Mm-hmm.
which just real quick, like to not go into detail just yet, but this was the work that his first published work, which is it's called Robin's Breakfast, which is funny because these are goldfinches, wrong bird, but it was called Robin's Breakfast, and it's just like a beautiful like technically executed work that we can go into detail like a little later, but um, everything about this is just so good. And he did this at 21, right? Um, the
Mm-hmm.
hatching, the anatomy on the birds, um, the the value control, the composition, right? It's all
Right.
so good.
He was very technically competent, very, very good at his craft.
Exactly. Very, very good. Good enough to become an assistant master at the school he attended as soon as he graduated. Um, and yet, this is his legacy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't stop drawing like this because he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
His later work isn't like this, and it's not because he couldn't do it. Because this is the very first work that he you know had published
Right.
as an artist.
Right. And people try to spin that narrative for reasons we'll get into, but yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But I just like I feel like it's so important to just like talk about his first published drawing and to show it
Mm-hmm.
because not uh, just because it's like the beginning of his career, but also
Mm-hmm.
because we know him for something very different. People know him for something very different.
Yeah.
And people, I have heard at least one person say like, I don't know why this drawing is famous. Like it's like not that
Yeah.
impressive.
It looks like colored pencil on paper,
Exactly.
basically.
hmm
Yeah.
And to take that and say like, well, the artist must not have been great if that's what he did, what people know him for.
Mm-hmm.
And Lewis Wayne is probably more technically proficient than anyone who would criticize him for the like non-apparent technicality of the work that he's famous for.
Mm-hmm.
And this again, first illustration that was ever published. Also, I really love mentioning that because so in 1881, his first published work, his the first time he had his art published in a magazine, um, was 1881, and it was this Robin's Breakfast misnomer because it was actually a picture of a drawing of goldfinches. Uh, Not only everything that I mentioned, right, but it was for the Christmas issue
Ah.
of the magazine that it was published in. Um, and this is just something I want to mention because I mentioned it earlier, right? And because he graduated from a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's this through line of Christianity that um, seems to be like it's not at the front of his work, but it's such it plays a role throughout his life. Um, and it's just something that I find
Mhm.
very it's a pattern that emerges and it's hard to ignore. It's very interesting.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, the first drawing that he ever had published was published in the Christmas issue of a magazine.
Mhm.
Um, and it was rather than proficient, I'll say it was like technically masterful. Um,
Mhm.
at age 20, and that was at age 21. He did
Mhm.
this, right?
Yeah.
Um, let me go back to going through his biography. So in 1884, he's very, very precocious, right? His career is like so impressive, right? Already by age 21. By age 24, uh, married. He married Emily. His uh, a little bit of controversy about his marriage. Married Emily.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
she was. Do you wanna talk about that?
Well, she was one of his sister's. She was her sister's governess. Um, and I believe they had an age gap, but I could be wrong.
They did have an age gap, and it was some would call it even a problematic age gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Problematic age gap romance. She was
Mhm.
10 years older than him.
Yeah.
Um,
I knew she was older because she was his sister's governess, so I was
right.
like, but I didn't know exactly how many
Yeah.
years.
So, uh, problematic age gap romance.
Yeah.
Uh, some would say, and others might say, "Let's go, Lewis. Let's go.
Get him.
Damn, damn." But I think we want to be careful, right, about saying too much about people.
No,
Um, right, right, or they're like personality based on whatever this, but like
no,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right, but like I mean, come on, you're age 24, your sister's governess is 10 years older than you. I feel like this kind of paints Lewis as kind of a charming man,
Yeah.
you know, maybe
Hmm.
just a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that's and again, why do I say that? It all relates to his body of work, which is like the context that we're looking at his life through.
Yeah.
Because a lot of his work is so charming. Um,
Yeah. It's also important to note that at this time
mhm.
he was working for newspapers and trade journals,
Right,
and he made his living on engravings that would be published in
right,
publications because photographs could not be reproduced at this time.
right. Working on it, engravings for periodicals and publications.
Hmm.
Um,
So he was not known as the cat guy yet.
right, exactly, exactly. There's very much like a very stark, um, uh, like there is a before Lewis Wayne and there's an after Lewis Wayne, and this is the
Hmm.
one that is famous. This Lewis Wayne that's informed by all this, especially
Hmm.
like this, and this technically proficient work, which he would retain. He would retain his skill right later, but this is all the before Lewis Wayne.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll leave these dates up,
Hmm.
because 1884 he marries Emily. His career. This is his career.
Hmm.
Um, he's you know producing work of this caliber and quality.
Hmm.
In those genres, quote unquote. But he's an artist by
Hmm.
trade, right? He's not
Hmm.
he's not um he's not painting like high concept, um, you know, religious works that are going to be hung in like specifically like to be hung in museums or churches or
Hmm.
whatever. He's an artist by
Hmm.
trade.
Hmm.
Um, 1886, 2 years later, um, Emily gets sick.
Hmm.
Um, this is uh, she had correct me if I'm wrong. I believe she had a carcinoma or like a cancer.
Yeah,
Um,
she had breast cancer.
right. Emily gets sick uh, with breast cancer, and she and it went fast. It went fast.
Hmm.
She got very
Yeah.
sick. She was bedridden.
Hmm.
Um, she was in pain,
Hmm.
fatigued, um, and honestly, physically suffering
Hmm.
a lot, all the time. And the medicine at the time, not the best at alleviating someone's suffering when they're in pain because they have breast cancer, for example.
Hmm.
So to cheer up Emily, uh, Lewis draws their cat.
Yep. Their cat Peter.
Yeah, their cat Peter. Their cat Peter to cheer
And
her up.
Peter was also like a big comfort for Emily
Hmm.
while she was sick. She spent a lot of time with him. Like I think like he makes a remark that's like she never like Peter will never be bored, she'll never be bored because like they have each other
All
and
right. Yeah.
they're always together because she's at home and stuff.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time with Emily.
Hmm. Yeah, he was her comfort kitty.
Exactly. Exactly. Comfort kitty. I'll just write that. Comfort kitty. It's important. It's important. Um, I feel like we really can't say enough about Peter and about Peter's relationship with Emily.
And it's so sad because they only, you know, spoiler spoiler alert, I guess Emily does pass away,
Yeah.
and their marriage lasted for only 3 years.
Right. So 1886, Emily got sick with breast cancer. It was very that moved uh, slower than some, faster than most. Didn't last very long. Um, and during this time, um, Emily and Peter, the cat, spend a lot of time together. And Lewis loves to draw Peter to cheer her up when she's feeling down. Um,
Yeah.
but I
And
think
he specifically drew caricatures of their cat.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't like I'm sure he also drew like nice like
Mm-hmm.
photorealistic images of the cat too, but like specifically it was like funny the cat doing funny things or making funny faces to cheer her up.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Drew Peter, I'll say drew caricatures
Hmm.
of Peter,
Hmm.
um, to cheer her up. Um,
Yeah.
so funny faces, doing people things, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, being silly,
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Silly.
Yeah. Uh, and again, we can't say enough about this, about the context in which he started drawing cats, Peter, specifically, um, because what
It really came from a love for his wife, which is
exactly,
so important and like touching and interesting to me. It was like I'm so happy that what he's known for is something that really, meant a lot to him and is so special to him because, it was to made to initially made to like cheer his wife up,
exactly.
which I think it's really cute.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very cute. It's very sweet.
Very sweet, yeah.
Mhm. That well, like this date, I want to keep in mind as well. Um,
Hmm.
uh, Emily died. We'll say,
Hmm.
1887.
Hmm.
Uh, Emily dies.
Hmm.
So yeah, like you said, um, they were married for only 3 years.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Lewis was 27. She was would have been 37, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but Lewis was 27 when Emily died.
Mhm.
Um, a a relatively young man, younger than me. So,
Mhm.
um, uh, younger than many people.
Yeah.
Not even 30, right? Uh,
So I guess yeah, eventually. So at the time, Wayne was a freelancer at
hmm
the London News, and
yeah,
editors actually saw the art and they
hmm
offered to print it for him. It's so
right,
now he is beginning to be known as the cat guy.
right, yeah, yeah,
Right? It's after his wife's, death. But what something was originally just supposed to be for him and her, like
yeah,
their own special private thing,
hmm
sort of became like his like what is it like trademark and like
yeah.
yeah and
His
yeah so yeah editors at the Illustrated London News saw
hmm
it and then they offered to print it.
offered to print his works, right?
Yep.
Uh, it was like yeah, London Illustrated
Hmm.
News. Um, this would have been like a big turning point. If we want to pick a year, it's 1890.
Hmm.
So when he's what a year, right? Uh, he's age 30. Um, uh, but at this time, yeah. Between we'll say between 87 to 87 to 90.
Hmm.
What was he doing? Between ages 27 and 30, he was renting rooms. Um, he was known for playing piano improv.
Hmm.
Uh, improv piano like at nights. Um, something he did to occupy his time. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, he would took commissions. Didn't did lots of different subjects, right?
Hmm.
Because again, he was a very technically proficient artist. He could draw
Yeah.
what you needed him to draw. He did architecture, landscape. He did engravings. He did just every kind of media, like silver point. In addition to I think he did some watercolor things like that. But he did all of this, right? And he was living he was known amongst some prominent journalists at the time whose names mean absolutely nothing to me or anyone who might watch this, but people who lived a sort of bohemian lifestyle. He was known amongst them.
Hmm.
Um, but by 1890, people kind of knew him as the cat guy because he because of the because of this that you mentioned.
Hmm.
The editor seeing his cat caricatures and
Hmm.
offering to print them.
Hmm.
Uh, he had some notoriety. He was well
Yeah.
known. Yeah.
I are you just going over the basic dates, or because I'm like there's stuff happening before then that I could talk about, but I wasn't
No,
sure if
please,
like you were just
please.
going. Oh, so I did
Mm-hmm.
want to mention that it was only days after his wife's death
Mm-hmm.
that he made the art piece A Kitten's Christmas Party, which was
Right.
a drawing featuring 150 cats that took
Mm-hmm.
11 days to create, and it appeared in the newspaper.
Yeah, and that was
So and
his first published work that was like featuring cats, right? That was like the
yeah,
big deal.
it was the big one, and it's kind of what launched him into like stardom and into like
Mm-hmm.
popularity and fame.
Yeah, and I do have that one saved slash I can pull it up right now.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure how you wanted to structure
Oh
things,
no,
so I didn't know.
that's perfect. It would have been this is exactly the right time to bring that up because we're talking about kind of like the time around his wife's death. So it was days after
Yeah.
his wife's death that
Yeah.
this this was published, and you could see like
Yeah.
um we want to talk about like his work, right? His artistic progression. Um, well, first of all, like incredible 11 days for like all of this. Are you kidding?
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like anyone who draws a picture, it's like if you look at all this, look at how good it is,
Yeah.
in like 11 days.
150 cats.
Yeah,
150 cats in 11 days.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
and yeah, he basically was an overnight sensation because of this.
mm-hmm. 50 cats.
People love to see, cats with human-like personalities. Like if you go look at the top one,
Mm-hmm.
there's a cat like putting a pencil in its mouth and like thinking.
Right. Yeah.
Top left, top left.
Yeah. This one.
Uh, no,
Right.
yeah, yeah, that one, yeah, yeah. And it's just like it's so cute, and people really resonated with that, and so
Yeah.
um,
It's
yeah,
so expressive.
yeah,
And like
doing things like like playing, getting up to mischief,
yeah, this one
like
is like
cats
typical
and
goofy.
cats in a really positive and sweet light,
Yeah.
because like we mentioned earlier, cats at this time um they weren't seen as like, good pets. They were seen as things that could kill rats,
Hmm.
or they were even like related to witchcraft, so they were seen like as like negative. And people much rather liked the masculine dog who like hunted and, barked and all that stuff. And yeah, just for a while, cats weren't really seen as popular as they are today.
Yeah.
And I think he largely, like, as weird as it sounds to say this, he I mean he literally did, but he humanized the cats.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he made
Hmm.
them. People realize that there's much more to them than just things that
Uh,
kill rats, right?
right.
Utility,
At
right?
yeah, at best, pest control, like living pest control. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not one to like to get really into the like the feminist lens of history and
Hmm.
art history, but
Hmm.
I think there is something to be said for the like the contrast uh in the way they're presented. Like, and I wouldn't even think to breach the subject except that cats were associated with witchcraft, and
Yeah.
that's evil women, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus the dog is like a symbol of nobility and masculinity associated with that, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I just find that that's like something interesting to touch on that I haven't really thought about,
Hmm.
or like um, I don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
exploring off the cuff, but I think is
No.
worth mentioning that cats had this association,
Hmm.
and the way that it contrasts with because cats and dogs are always like placed in opposition to each other,
Yeah.
or just the way those things uh, were associated with the different genders,
Yeah.
and uh, what Wayne's work rehabilitating cats in the public eye, it may have done some good work in the on the gender front as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, people think they're cunning and conniving and calculated. Like they're just goofy little guys. And if anyone, they're just, I mean, it depends. Everybody, they have different personalities. A lot of
It does,
guys.
but the all those it's so interesting too, like all those negative traits associated with cats, conniving, cunning, like underhanded. I'm like, what did like uh people paint women as, right? Like scheming and like just this like
Mhm.
it's such an like an interesting parallel that is just like
Yeah.
so I mean in hindsight and with the lens of like a clear like not fucked up brain, obviously it's ridiculous, right? But
Yeah.
the way that like the parallels in the characterization is very interesting. Um
Yeah.
and the way that we or the way that I touched on Wayne's relationship with femininity, being
Hmm. Hmm.
surrounded by women as he grew up, like
Yeah.
the work that might have done for him on this front as well. Um,
Hmm.
but this was his first cat illustration that was
Hmm.
published in a magazine, and
Yeah.
it was so good. Yeah, overnight. Uh, the
Yeah.
cat guy, and what do we notice about this again? Christmas, the
Yep.
Christmas number.
Yep. Christmas party. Kitten's
Mm-hmm.
Christmas party.
Kitten's Christmas party. Yeah. Um, we're like, I mean, this is a man's life, right? We're not telling a story, but it's so curious, right? That the
Mhm.
this is like a repeating theme in life of these like
Yeah.
really important life events happening around
Mhm.
Christmas and related to his art as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so some of these cats are like caricaturized more than others, but you can see there's sort of like
Yeah.
a transition or like a developing of his art style from
Yeah.
this this
Absolutely.
to moving into this more expressive is the word I want to use. It's more expressive
Mhm.
style um,
Yeah.
to like give these cats these expressions. I love this. This one is my favorite
The
actually.
the more I look at it, it's so cute. The more I look at it, like the more I notice their little expressions. It's like really cute.
Yeah, I mean every single one of them. Like look
There's
at the
so
way
much
that this one.
personality.
Yeah, it's so much personality given to these cats. Like look at the way that this one is looking down. It's
Mhm.
like you motherfucker sleeping on the like look at how hard everyone's working and you are just like passed out and like this guy's just covered in ink. He's like, oh, he's, like he one little cat out of 150, and
Mhm.
this would have been an amazing illustration in itself. Just this like cat
Yeah.
that just like spilled ink all over himself. What am I doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. I love so much about this work. And we can go through it again like even more slowly a little later. But that was Kid's Christmas party, days after his wife's
Mhm.
death. So he like
Mhm.
the grief that he's dealing with. He was married for 3 years.
Yeah, and you think about it, like it was what was it? It was published, I believe.
Yeah. The Christmas edition, yeah.
Uh,
Of 1880, 1887 or 1886.
it appeared in the
Right?
newspaper.
Oh, appeared in the newspaper.
Yeah, days after his wife's death. So
Right,
I wonder if she was alive while he was working on this, um,
right,
or like if it doesn't certainly doesn't look like it was.
right,
Um,
right.
it
Mhm.
looks very like sweet and happy.
Yeah, by the dates, it seems like his wife was alive. Um,
Yeah.
so it might have implied that like she was dead and he was working, but we do
Mhm.
see that like the
Oh
date,
yeah.
1886. So this means like this would have been when his wife was like gravely ill, but
Yeah.
still alive.
Right,
Um,
right next to New Year's, right?
right,
Yeah, because it's
exactly.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife would have been very gravely ill at this time, but not like, but still alive.
Mhm.
Um, so, uh, uh, so this was published. I should correct that, right? That
It appeared in the newspaper
appeared in the
or
newspaper, right?
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
only day yeah, yeah, only it took him 11 days prior and then it was put in the newspaper a few days after her death,
Okay,
basically.
gotcha. Yeah,
Mhm.
gotcha. Okay, so yeah, but it was like, yeah, it was really like
So he
at
was
the end of his
working
wife's
on that
life.
like on his in his wife's final moments. And
Exactly.
I think that's really sweet because maybe he helped cheer her up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
the
It's all conjecture, but like it's
of
really
course.
sweet to think about.
Yeah. No. And I think that, I mean, why did he start drawing these caricatures of cats? Because
Right, to begin with,
yeah,
was because he wanted to make his wife happy.
right. When she was suffering from illness, and
Mhm.
she drew his her emotional support kitty.
Right, Peter.
Right. And
Mhm.
again, he was 27 when she passed. So they were married for 3 years. But I imagine it was a um it must have been a really amazing 3 years. um,
Mhm.
like um how he wanted to cheer her up and how he celebrated her. Um,
Yeah,
it's very sweet.
yeah.
So, but during prior to all these events with his wife, when he was a kid, 1880, um, a kid sort of fresh out of a kid in the adult kid, fresh out of school. Um, his father died,
Mhm.
and he was kind of like didn't get on well with the rest of his family, his mother and sisters. Um, but again, going like it's just good to note this was happening in the background as well. Um, Bad
Yeah.
relationship with his family.
And he also, since he was the only boy, he was in charge of like taking care of his sisters
Exactly.
financially.
hmm
So
Um, Even though he had this bad relationship with his family, he was
mhm.
still sort of responsible for the finances and you know
Yeah.
bringing in money to support them. Um,
Yeah.
his wife, not his wife, but his mother and his sisters. So he had a bad relationship with them, but he was still responsible in some sense for them.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
uh and despite all of his success and like popularity, he actually had a lot of trouble with money because
hmm
he didn't um he didn't enforce copyright. So like somebody
right,
would buy his print and they would get the rights to it, so he paid every time published.
right,
Because
exactly.
he didn't like to negotiate.
Right. He's like, I just want to draw these cats, dude. Like, I don't. I really like. Yeah, no, I empathize. Like, I think a lot of artists are
Yeah.
like, they want to focus on their work. They don't want to focus on
Well,
like all that like going to like arguing with people about copyright and suing people
well,
and all that. Right.
I really want to watch the movie now to see how they characterize
Absolutely.
because to me, like if I was in that position, I would be like too meek and a little shy to
Right.
negotiate. And
Right.
I wonder if that's what he was with him, or if he he just didn't want to get into the
Right.
legal like
Right.
details. But
Right.
like 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 I do wonder that.
Yeah. And it would be very interesting to see how that would be characterized
Hmm.
in a like major movie. Um,
Hmm. Because I
okay.
mean, my knowledge of him only goes so far. I'm not an
Exactly.
expert, but
Yeah.
like I do like it's just so interesting how many like context clues you can pick up about his demeanor and
Exactly. Yeah.
like how he made his art and why he made his art and his
hmm
experiences and stuff, which is really one thing I love about art. So,
Yeah. It's one of the things I love most about art history is like exploring art history like not in like these broad swaths where we're talking about like movements. We're not talking about the romantic movement, right? Um we're not talking about Victorian um
mhm.
illustration.
Yeah.
We're talking about Lewis Wayne. We're talking about um one artist, one man, and his artistic journey, and
Mhm.
these like intimate um details of their life contrasted with their work. It's like it's so humanizing, right? It makes art history like live
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
versus how like dry um, how dry it's often taught. Like the I know like when I was in school, I would have just got these dates. I wouldn't have gotten like all this like connecting it
With who he was
with who
and
he
what he was doing at the
ex-
time.
exactly.
Because yeah, like at least in my it was just like okay, this art piece was made at this date. Now memorize it. But like when you have context about his what he was doing at the time, it's so much easier to remember. Like, oh, this was happening, at this time and stuff
Yeah,
because of his experiences. Um,
yeah. Um, and his family the entire time that he was with his wife, like and his relationship with his wife shaped the rest of his life, right? And he lived for some
mhm.
time after this, right?
Yeah.
He did not have a good relationship with the rest of his family. Um, it was after his wife died, years after his wife died, he made up with them,
Hmm.
and moved them in. So this was like that they were not present for any of it, in like the sense that like I'm sure they offered some support, but um, really their reconciliation didn't happen until years after his wife's death. And it makes you wonder, like, what was their perspective on the fact that he married the sister's governess?
Right.
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 What
Yeah.
did they think of her? What did they think of him? What
Right.
did they think of his relationship? Um,
Right.
right. During her illness, what did they do? How did they act?
Hmm.
All that. So it's I mean, it almost feels like gossip, right? It feels a little wrong to talk about it, but it is so. I can't deny that it's interesting to think about in the context of his
Yeah.
work as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
um,
So,
mhm.
I don't know. I feel bad if I'm like pushing ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead, go
Um,
ahead. Um,
no.
we're like I'm just like moving through the timeline, but 1890 is
Yeah.
kind of where things, I would like break things, I guess. Like 1890,
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
also becomes like chairman of the like president of president of the National Cat Club, for example.
Mhm.
Um, like his career takes off um, after this, and there's a lot of years where it's just sort of like he was illustrating things. He was illustrating children's books. Um, he was illustrating children's books starting uh, like years after this.
Mhm.
Um, maybe because he had to support his family.
Yeah.
He did so many things, but like how much of it was just like in the service of just like supporting his family. He would illustrate children's books, uh, annuals, so just like collections of his art. Starting in 1901, so like when he was 40, he started publishing these annuals, which are collections of art, right? Um,
Mhm.
uh, and that this life more or less just continued in this way until um, maybe we'll say like 1913
Mhm.
when one of his sisters died. One of his
Mhm.
sisters died. Not only did she die though, it wasn't like flu, um, or maybe it was right, but specifically the context. She died in a lunatic asylum.
Mhm.
I think this is a fact that's important to keep in mind
Mhm.
because
Right. That
mhm,
his family. That there seemed to be mental illness in his family.
there was mental illness in his family and likely severe mistreatment in um, what passed for mental health care facilities at the time.
Mhm. Right.
Um,
Um,
uh,
and it's actually interesting because a year after that, Wayne actually fell from a platform
mhm,
of an omnibus in London, and he suffered a head injury, which left him in a coma.
yeah,
So there's a lot of like discussion about his mental illness and like what it was exactly. Like there's a lot of debate, a lot of some stuff I don't agree with,
mhm,
but like it can be inferred from like all sides. Like was it like a thing he was predisposed to like with his parents or like with his family, or could have the traumatic brain injury like affected him, stuff like that.
right. Um, I think there is like with like this kind of thing. The fact that like there was it wasn't just
Oh
him,
yeah, yeah. I
right?
mean,
It's like
obviously,
right,
he
no,
was
no,
just like
mhm.
he was susceptible to it.
Exactly, exactly. Like I think that implies that he was susceptible to it. So this is also when he was like he would have been 53, right? Um, Lewis was 53. Um, so typically, like this kind of like mental illness shows itself well before you're like in your 50s, right?
Hmm.
Although like with the deterioration of age, things get worse, and but um,
Hmm.
hand injury, 3-week coma, 6 months rehab, um, injury rehab, right? I'm not like
Hmm.
substance abuse or anything.
No.
And this happened when he was so he was 53 here, would have been 54 here. And this is another one of those turning points where you have um, if their eras in his life. It was like before and during his marriage to Emily, after her death, and then
Hmm.
I think here is where we can mark another turning point. Is in
Hmm.
1917. Another one of his sisters died.
Mhm.
Um, and 1924, I think, is when we mark this era.
Mhm.
So when he was 64,
Mhm.
uh, his sisters had him.
He was certified
Hmm.
insane.
Yeah, had him certified insane.
Um, and
Insane.
it's interesting to note, like, contextually, he had been paranoid and violent towards his sisters.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Hi, Flea Flicker.
hey, hey, what's up? Good to see you. Good to
Yeah,
see you.
this is the guy that made the
That is
cat painting.
that is exactly right. Yeah, we mentioned at
Mhm.
the beginning of the stream. If you know him for one thing, um, it's probably that cat painting. Um, uh,
Yeah.
I am happy because everyone loves me. So yeah, this
Mhm.
is what you would like know him for, likely.
Yeah. I love this picture.
Me
I
too.
love it.
Me too. And the more I learn about Lewis Wayne, uh, the more I love it, and the more I find it endearing.
Mhm.
I think it's also very much worth noting that he was 64 years old when this happens. When he is after he has been history of paranoia, violence toward family, because that is, I think, another like degree of violence. It wasn't like strangers;
Mhm.
it was like his sisters.
Yeah. Uh, a lot of
Um,
people conjecture that he had schizophrenia, but
right,
um, like, I don't think there's like an official like
right,
diagnosis, because
right.
there's like many different theories. But I think the most widely like quote unquote correct one was he had schizophrenia, because he also had hallucinations, like,
Right.
you know.
He also had like the above plus hallucinations and delusions because he held some
Mhm.
very strange beliefs
Mhm.
about the world, about the relations of things, which are all like uh, plus delusions. So delusions, for example, of persecution and such that would have led into this paranoia and violence.
Mhm.
This all is like very uh, unfortunate, but very textbook
Yeah.
schizophrenia.
uh, Well, yeah, as somebody who has gone through psychosis myself, I can absolutely attest that it's like totally relatable. And I like, especially with violent, not in my case, but like being paranoid of people that you're close to is very common and happens.
Yeah. Wayne also did in his life publish some guides on caring for cats, and he like you mentioned earlier, Denko, he humanized cats. He basically was like, you need to treat cats this way, that way, like do this with them. He was,
Hmm.
yeah, president of the and president and chairman of the National Cat Club, starting in 1890. So 1890 to 1920, I believe. He was, as you said, flea flicker, or shared that quote. Yeah, he was a president of the National Cat Club, and yeah, during this time, he published some writings on cats. In addition to all the many caricatures of cats that endeared cats to a public that didn't think well of them for the most part.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he did a lot for cats, and for other people who
Yeah.
liked cats.
Yeah.
Judged at cat shows. Um, he was very well regarded, and people thought of him as like just like a nice like at this time. Especially so this is like it's unfortunate, right, that it got to this point, but because
Yeah.
he had these
Pre-hospital.
pre-hospitalization, he was very thought well of, and very um, well
Hmm.
regarded.
Yeah.
But yeah, now he's an old man. He is losing his mind, and to some degree has lost it uh,
Yeah.
completely. Scary.
So yeah,
Hmm.
so June 1924 was when he was certified insane, and he was taken to Pauper's Ward in Tooting, South London, which was not a particularly good Psych ward.
Pauper's ward of Pauper's ward of an asylum in London. So
Mm-hmm.
London, it's I think it's interesting and important to note that it was in London because it's a city. Right? Cities jam packed with people, meaning the asylum also packed with people. People
Mm-hmm.
pulled off the streets, criminals. He was in the paupers ward, so this means they had no money because Wayne was
Yeah.
not great with money and to begin with, and he had all of his sisters to care for.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the sole breadwinner. He didn't have money. He'd paid
Yeah.
some of his bills with um, art, but it speaks again to how well regarded he was by the people around him that they would accept that. They
Yeah.
were like, "Yeah, dude,
It.
just give me a picture and like it's fine, and then that's your rent for the month, you know." But even
Mhm.
so, with all that and his long career, he ended up here. Um,
Mhm.
but there's more to this than just this. It did not
Mhm.
end there, and that is
No.
what like one of the most heartwarming and bittersweet parts of Lewis Wayne's life as story is
Yeah.
where it goes from here. I do have to step away for 1 minute, um,
Okay.
but I will be right back. Um, so your preference, Denko. Would you
Mhm.
like to just have the floor for a couple minutes and just talk about Lewis Wayne and art and stuff, or would you like to also take a break, maybe stretch your legs and that kind of thing?
I'll take a break.
Okay, then we'll be back. Call it like 5 to 10.
Mhm.
Uh, back, I believe.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, hello. Um, good to be back. But we did leave off on a very important and sad for the time being note where
Yeah.
Wayne was institutionalized in a in his old age, right at 64 years old. Um, he was in. Hey, what's up, Flea Flicker? He was institutionalized in the paupers ward of an asylum in London.
Yeah, I do want to mention, but
Hmm.
before we move on,
Of
that
course.
even it wasn't a great mental health facility at all. It was not great at all.
Hmm.
But despite that, his sisters did do what they could, and they brought him art supplies, which is really sweet.
It was really yeah. I do think it's important to note that he was
Mhm.
brought art supplies and he continued making caricatures of cats um and just like we're not obviously not his life story doesn't end here, but
Mm-mm.
like I just have to take a second. He's 64, right? Here, um, his wife died. He was 27, and 37 years later, he's still drawing caricatures of cats and doing bringing people, cheering people up, bringing them cheer, the way that he did for his wife dying of breast cancer when he was 27. And
Mhm.
just talking about that just kind of makes like I'm getting a little choked up.
Mhm.
Because how much how much did he love her? That
Yeah.
his entire life, um, his entire like professional life, the things that he was famous for creating, um, w- grew out of his care for his wife, who
Mhm.
died this at this like early age in his life. I just he did other things. Of course, it wasn't just drawings of cats, but here
Mhm.
what he was famous for, and his legacy is uh grew out of this time in his life. I just have to say that because something that really sticks out to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, his sisters brought him art supplies. Um,
So yeah, he
mhm.
was still drawing these cats in the paupers
Yeah,
ward.
yeah, and the pauper's ward. This is as an aside again, an aside. Prior, some years prior to this, just an example of one of the children's books that he illustrated. This would have been about 20 years earlier, so in his 40s, mid career. Just wanted to
Hmm.
the evolution of that, still slightly realistic style of illustrating cats. Right, it had the like desaturated colors and such. Um,
Hmm.
um, just just putting that as part of his artistic journey, because around this time, um, it'll be a little later than this, right? Is when he starts drawing the more abstracted or psychedelic almost cats.
Hmm.
But another important thing that happened here while he was in this pauper ward is that a bookseller. Do you want to tell the story, by the way? This is when the bookseller finds him here.
So yeah, eventually a bookseller finds him, and he's like, he looks at his art while he's like drawing, and he's like, "You draw like Louis Wayne," and Louis Wayne goes, "I am Louis Wayne," and then he's like, "No, you can't be. You're in a psych ward," basically. Louis Wayne wouldn't be in such a place, and he draws a winking cat for him to like prove it, a cute little winking cat.
Yeah.
Um, and he's so the guy's so like shocked by this and everything that he actually starts a fund to get Louis Wayne moved to a different hospital, which is so sweet.
Yeah. Visitor starts a fund uh, to to move him to a better place, move him to a better
Hmm.
facility.
Yeah. And
Uh,
like at this point it wasn't widely known that he was in like an asylum.
right.
Like right, he was in a mental health place because uh I could be wrong. I read that like it was like at the time mental illness was a little bit more like privated, so like there wasn't a big announcement that like
Right. Right.
our
Lewis Wayne
brother's going to
enters.
the psych
Yeah.
ward,
Hmm.
like yeah, like it was, so not a lot of people knew. Like
Hmm.
I guess they just figured, like this artist stopped drawing or publishing things.
Well, his sisters were so they brought him art supplies so like he could draw, but they were
Yeah.
also like they would like sell his drawings, right, as well.
Oh,
Um,
oh, okay, okay.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't know
Um,
that.
but his but the fact that he was uh in an asylum, specifically in
Yeah.
the paupers ward of like an asylum in
Yeah.
London, uh,
Mhm.
was not widely known.
No. Yeah.
But once people found out that like this illustrator cartoonist that had brought them so much amusement and joy, um, and this is just a very well regarded person who was just kind of a positive force. Now once it was
Mhm.
known that he was in this paupers ward, um,
Mhm.
they were able to raise the funds.
Yeah. Um, so many people had been touched by his work, and so many people contributed to how much they loved his like happy cat works.
Hmm.
Um, they all donated, which is really really sweet. And I don't know if you know, I know like a big name person also donated that was of note. I didn't write it down though, so
Unfortunately,
uh,
no, I don't know
okay.
the um
Let's
like
just say
any
like it
particular
was like a
donors.
lot of people band together and like important people
Yeah,
supported
um,
him as well.
absolutely. So 1930,
Hmm.
70 years old,
Hmm.
um, is when the funds were raised and things were uh, in order for him
Hmm.
to be moved to uh, um, I can't remember what was the name of it? Knapsbury, I
It was
believe. Oh,
Bethlehem
Bethlehem.
Hospital.
Okay, okay. Um, Bethlehem Hospital. So, moved to we'll say just a much nicer facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, a much nicer facility. Um, and so the people that rallied around him were like, among them were of course ordinary people, um, people who just really liked his works and who had been touched by them. But also people who were um, dealing with the same, contending with the same kind of illnesses, mental illnesses, and struggles that he dealt with, that had ravaged his later years.
Hmm.
He was yeah he was sort of a positive symbol for people
Hmm.
struggling with mental illness to know that they could still do good. They could still because his illustrations brought people a lot of joy, for example.
Yeah.
Um, Even if he was
It's
struggling.
all it's also good to know that like or good to note that at Bethlehem, Wayne
Hmm.
was he was not like disruptive.
Right.
He was not like a problem patient or whatever. For the most part, he
Um,
was very cooperative and quiet and
right.
his actual treatment there was to just make sure he was in a as peaceful place as possible.
Right. In Bethlehem, he was um, peaceful.
Yeah.
His treatment, uh, be nice.
Mhm.
Flea Flicker, they
And
can still make art. Exactly. Exactly. And everything that implies, everything that art does for
yeah,
people, um, you know, no matter how you're struggling,
a-
it's still possible.
and you can still enjoy making art even in the midst of hardship, or mental illness or whatever. And it doesn't have to be like the darkest, deterioration of you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, people
No,
spin that
absolutely.
narrative that like, oh, this person has schizophrenia, therefore, their art might change, right? And it might like show them devolving into like, you
Right.
know,
So this is the fact that like for example, like the last work that he his last published work and the work that he's most famous for was produced um is his legacy was produced was cemented when he was at peace and happy.
mhm.
Art does not have to come from pain. Great art does not have to come from pain. That is such a
Yeah.
horrible narrative that has survived for so long because I understand that like vent art, for example, is something that people create a lot of, but
Mhm.
um, and people who are, for example, like mentally ill are um, often compelled to create art. But
Mhm.
that just because someone is mentally ill does not mean that their best work is going to be produced when they are at their lowest or when they're
Yeah.
going through it. I personally,
You
when
can
I
still be
mhm,
happy while you're going through it.
exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
It's not like this. You have to be living in darkness um,
Yeah.
and suffering to create great art. Um, and great art doesn't have to be about that, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think great art is very compelling for sure, for different reasons.
Mhm.
Um, but what is also very compelling is joy.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
joy is also very very compelling, um, and very powerful, and
Mhm.
work that celebrates it can be created by people who have had to deal with some awful conditions in their life.
Right. And while we're on the topic of Bethlehem, because he did go to the Bethlehem hospital, but then he was transferred again after that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, while he was at Bethlehem, he was asked to decorate the hospital during, you guessed it, Christmas time,
Right.
where he would decorate the mirrors of pictures of cats engaging in Christmas activities, which is
Right. And was that
like
at Bethlehem or at the last facility that he would be at?
it's I wrote down it was at Bethlehem.
Okay. So while at Bethlehem, yeah, yeah. Some of his last known works, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
It's
um,
just funny that, like,
paintings of cats at Christmas time. Uh,
yeah, right, and that's also what, like, made him explode in popularity as well.
exactly. Yeah, painting of cats at Christmas time. Um, so we have this very interesting like through line of his life. Where like, of course, this is first illustration. This first published illustration of cats.
Mhm,
Like Christmas, right?
mhm,
This illustration I believe was also for a Christmas
mhm,
edition.
mhm,
Then this one was, and
mhm,
then his last works were Christmas decorations.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, isn't it cute?
it's so cute.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is the actual illustration or
Yeah, he
painting.
painted it on the mirror
Yeah, that was like on a physically painted onto a mirror, and then this is a so like an enhanced and like retouched um like uh
version.
yeah version of it that was like photographed and then I believe like retouched for the sake of like clarity and color and all that. But
Yeah.
this is the physical um work, and that they're so happy, they're so cute,
Yeah.
and he's like um and looking at it and just the whole context of it. The cats are cute and enjoying themselves at Christmas time. But like, look at the white brick walls of the asylum in the background. Um, provide a uh, more complex framing,
Mhm,
but um, that's more of like an aesthetic thing. Um,
mhm.
the reality is that he had fun painting these cats having fun in Christmas. Um,
Yeah.
even when he was in this facility.
Yeah. And
Uh,
this was a good facility.
it
This
was
is the one that people, raised money to get him to move to.
exactly
Um,
where his treatment was be nice to Lewis.
yeah, be nice, yeah. Um, and yeah, and then he left that hospital in 1930.
Hmm.
Um, the institution was moved to a different location basically,
Right,
and
right. So
that
same
was
hospital
in,
relocated though.
yeah, Beckenham, Southeast London later.
Right.
Uh, and then he was transferred to Knapsbury Hospital because you mentioned Knapsbury earlier. That was the last one he was
Right.
transferred to.
Yeah, right, right. And I believe that was that 1931? Um
So Wain left Bethlehem in 1930, and
oh no,
then
no, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, good.
oh no, and because it was like transferring to a different location,
Mhm.
and then he was transferred to Knapsbury Hospital,
Right, 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 right.
where he would continue drawing.
Mhm. Um yeah, and so like yeah, 1930 he also would transfer again, but the remainder of his life was um to my knowledge pretty peaceful.
Hmm.
Am I right? There were no further
Hmm.
like major traumas or events like that. Uh,
No, he he didn't have any like financial worries
right.
at all while he
Yep.
was there. So
Mhm.
his sisters were taken care of. Like, um, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't have to stress about that, which was
Right.
great.
Exactly. So his family was cared for.
Hmm.
Um, his family was cared for. He was safe. He was in a nice facility, so he was relatively comfortable, and he was free to draw cats.
Right.
free to draw cats. Um, and now I have to just point it out again. 70 years old. Emily died when he was 27.
Mhm.
43 years of drawing cats.
Mhm.
Um, off the back of drawing caricatures of Peter, their cat, who spent so much time with Emily, of drawing caricatures of Peter
Mhm.
for 43 years.
Mhm.
He continued uh, doing exactly that. The thing he did to comfort his wife as she was dying of cancer. It became his
Mhm.
the guiding activity of his life. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't know where that I looked. Did I see any mention of him like remarrying? Right.
No.
Um, yeah. Sorry, I just need to take a second because it's so compelling to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, and then
uh,
so oh no, you go ahead.
no, just like that. I just had to sit on that for a second because it's
Oh.
like it choked me up a little bit. Just thinking about that. Just
Okay.
like it's just so sweet. Um,
Mhm.
that yeah, he loved his wife so much. It's like
Yeah.
his whole life was in a way like honoring her memory.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and he continued drawing, and he drew all sorts of cats, um, until he died, which he
Hmm.
died in 1939.
So in 1939, yeah, he
Mhm.
did uh, died after drawing and illustrating many many silly cats. Um, yeah, um, it's just he lived a very long time to be
Mhm.
79. A very a life rich not in uh liquidity, right, so to speak, but um rich in rich in love and connection, and
Yeah.
uh you know.
I just really like this artist because he shows that like even in the face of adversity and mental illness, people can still draw to make themselves happy and
Hmm.
draw out of love. And it
Right.
doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be about like it doesn't need to be about his disorder. It doesn't need,
Hmm. Right.
oh,
Right.
he
Exactly.
got his style changed or what? Because like, did you want to talk about the thing with the
Oh, absolutely.
the yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Prince Anime. Yeah, it, like his. I think a great sentence there was just like, his art was not about
Suffering.
yeah suffering
Yeah, like I mean like people so I
or
guess to
his
give
disorder.
context, yeah, either or. Um,
Both. Yeah, both.
you
I mean, it's
know,
just not about those things.
yeah, like a lot of people with this artist in particular, he um he uh he drew cats in
Uh,
abstract ways and
hmm.
people will sort of take that as his like abilities like deteriorating and acting like his abstract art is like because of his schizophrenia. But do you have those pictures?
Yeah, I pulled them up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and basically, so people see the change in like abstract and like abstracted versions, and like they think it's like his mental deteriorating, but it's just like no, it's just a different kind of like you know
Hmm.
way like it's just a different style, right? He used those like intricate patterns like even in like some of his earlier works.
Right. So,
Um,
hmm,
and it's just sad because hear that he has schizophrenia and have that like that his art changed because he was crazy, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
and basically in 1939, a psychiatrist named Walter Maclay, he these series of paintings in a shop, and they were not dated, so it was not a progressive cat gets weirder to cat gets abstract. These were not dated. They were not like I don't know if it was for sure I looked at the museum website in which these are posted,
Yep.
and it claims they're all part of the same, but like yeah, we don't know if they were chronologically in the way that this psychiatrist tries to push
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we don't
Posthumously.
know that.
But they were
Yeah.
arranged in a series posthumously. So that these drawings that aren't dated in 1939, right? They were like put in this order. Um, so that the psychiatrist put this narrative together and presented it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it has become part of Louis Wain's legacy and the way that people talk about him and the way that they characterize his art and his art journey.
Mhm.
He's going more hard. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, like, if you want to look at this work in a certain way, look at the background in this work. Look at the background in this work. That's it's there. Like this. It's not a it's not a progression that's like a summary of his art and his being, right? Um, he already was doing backgrounds like this. He was already drawing patterns like this.
It's
Um,
also good to know that this wasn't all he was drawing. He wasn't drawing abstract. He
right.
was still stylist
I think we
or
maybe
quote
we're
unquote old style.
yeah. I think maybe we peaking the mic a bit, but
Oh, sorry,
so
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's not bothering
I
me.
got.
It's just that your voice is cutting out.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's just so that so that like when you're being heard. But yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, yeah. Also, this wasn't all that he was producing at any given time. He was drawing different uh, in different styles. The way that like you look at the last three drawings on like my Twitter, it's not like I had a descent into madness when I was
Mhm.
drawing a fan emote for Denko, and then suddenly I snapped out of it and drew and like painted a bunny 10 minutes later, right? It's
Mhm.
it's it's um he is just using his um crazy. This is from the 1920s. That is true. It's extremely like expressive and very abstract in a way that people don't associate with the early uh earlier 1900s. But like
But
in the
he
post.
was he was a big inspiration for psychedelic art.
Exactly, and that's exactly right. Is that Lewis Wayne's art inspired what we might think of as like art from the latter half of the 20th century. It's like
Mhm.
he was um, in his abstract work very much like a visionary artist, and
Mhm.
he was a precursor to like you said, think of like psychedelic art, um, and
Mhm.
I can't remember a name specifically, but I know people have cited him as inspiration. Um,
Mhm.
and no, that in no way is this a deterioration of his art. It's a move from showcasing one way of utilizing his technical ability to expressing what he wants to express in a less technically proficient way. I think of it as like if you're trying to write something that people want to read or that's going to move
Mhm.
them, you don't use so much technical jargon, even though it would be very impressive. If you want to connect with
Yeah.
lots of people, not that this was conscious, but in a more like purely expressive way, you use language that's going to reach them, and that language is less convoluted.
Mhm.
You use words to communicate that are more expressive. Um, you
Mhm.
use so you use language that's easier to connect with and more pure in its expression. And I think that um, all of the many decades of Lewis's craft come together to create something like this piece here. um,
Mhm.
which is why I think it encapsulates his legacy so well because he produced this. Denko, do you want to talk about that? The context of this work?
Well, this was his last published piece of art, which is really sweet. And it's just I am happy because everyone loves me. People rallied together to get him, to move from a mental health place that was like not great and didn't treat him right. And it just encapsulates so much love. It really resonates with me because I've gone kinds of stuff before, and when that sort of stuff happened, it was um, a lot of people rallied and just showed how much they loved that me in the face of adversity. And so his like sort of resonates with me a lot. So that's I really like this picture.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, I mentioned at the beginning when we were just like going through a brief overview, um, that when I saw this, it it like I felt the joy, but it felt very bittersweet, and it made me tear up because there's something I feel like somehow it comes across. Maybe it's also just like a matter of like the weathering of the paper, but I there's something about this that feels very bittersweet to me. Um, and knowing that it was created in the face of not only in the face of adversity, but in the face of like overcoming um, like circumstances that are torturous, like
Hmm.
um, like a pauper's asylum in London in the 1920s. It's like imagine the people that you're surrounded by, the energy
Hmm.
in that place, the filth, the feeling
Hmm.
that you've been abandoned and left
Hmm.
behind. Um, and you do get, to draw pictures or whatever, but like, how could you feel very cared for? Um,
Well, was this
but then when,
this was
yeah, but this is like, in response to people rallying together and coming to, uh, show care and to show that he like wasn't being abandoned in this pauper's asylum. Um,
right.
right. So this is like in the face of all that, like what a relief to know that you are still loved and to know that you are still um, valued when you're even mentally suffering and in anguish uh, for some time. Like to like the relief is what I'm
Hmm.
imagining. The relief that Lewis must have felt when people came rallied for him in that way. It's like
Yeah.
so I've also been in that kind of space mentally where it felt like um I'm suffering and the antithesis of this, I am suffering and no one cares.
Hmm.
Um and I've come out the other side and feeling like this. And
Hmm.
I also connect very much with this piece for that reason.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um
Yeah.
yeah. But like I mean the same man in some ways, right? Um produced this that produced the like technically impressive drawings that we've seen.
Hmm.
Um but you can feel the weight of his life in this, and
Hmm.
it's just hard to describe, hard to put into explicit words. But I mean, technically, there's so much economy, right? So few marks are made.
Hmm.
Um, but like the very subtle like edge here, the very subtle transition out of the blue, the contrast of colors. I mean, it speaks to a man who's still like he's still a master of his craft. It's so irritating to see such a proficient artist move to a more expressive way of creating pictures and to be treated
Hmm.
like, oh, he was going crazy, so his art got worse.
Yeah.
When you know, what was the
Not the
purpose?
case.
Yeah, what was the purpose? The purpose was to express his joy. And
Yeah.
could it be any more pure?
Yeah.
You know?
Hmm. So remember, chat. You are happy because everyone loves you.
Yeah. Um, and just because, you know, we may suffer in private moments, please remember. Exactly. We
Please remember.
Yeah, please remember. Exactly. We may suffer in private moments. Um, but and maybe it feels like nobody cares, but maybe it's just that nobody can see it and nobody really knows. And if
Hmm.
they did, if they did see it, and if they could know what you're going through, someone would care.
Hmm.
People do care, and
Yeah.
uh, people don't like to see other people suffering. People want to
No.
help where they can.
Yeah. People are good.
Exactly. Um, People are good, and they like to come together for people who are good,
Yeah.
and people who do right by
Hmm.
them. As they did for Lewis Wain, you know.
Yeah.
And real quick, I just want to go through um, the the images and illustrations. I mean, he did over 1,000 of like, you know,
Hmm.
uh, many. He was an insanely prolific, largely because he had to support um, all his sisters and his mom. But
Hmm.
he was insanely, wildly prolific in many different media. But I just like to look through the start of his career and go through it. Maybe not dwelling on each piece, um, just because the stream has gone for a while now. Um, and I'm starting to get hungry, and I'm sure you are too. But just to go through his life in terms of the works. So this Robin's Breakfast was 1881.
Hmm.
Um, 21 years old. Um, it's in pure value, but just like we can very briefly touch on the composition. It goes from light to dark, which naturally leads your eye down the page. Um, that is also the way that the action moves. Um, we have this bright open space, so your eye kind of like eases through it, and there's a lot of complexity here in the bullfinch up here. The orientation of its head leads you down toward uh, the little yummies in its mouth, and then there's a place for your eye to rest here. There's not a lot of action, not a lot of contrast in value. And the next big contrast in value is the other finch, right? And
Hmm.
this is one of one of those subtle like composition things that it, like demonstrates a mastery of the medium and of like artistic principles more generally, and the fact that there's
Hmm.
so like the values at the bottom are the dark, like there's a lot more dark. There's variation because that's um it's more interesting to look at, right? If it was just a flat black, um well that's not a very interesting or technically good drawing either. But it kind of tells a story of light to dark, um foreground to background, and this is all purely through value, right?
Hmm.
The darkest values in the framing are in the foreground, and the lightest recede into the background, and that's
Hmm.
a commonly used technique. The flatter values and it's flatter and lighter, right? So more interesting stuff happening in the shadows and where he wants your attention to be. Um,
Hmm.
just so much about this is just technically amazing. The textures real close. Look at the textures, like you can see the hatch marks because it's a high resolution picture. The like tiny hatch marks in this
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
to show a
Crazy.
variations in the shadows, to show texture in the shadows, to show texture like the
Hmm.
textures of bricks, um, to the texture of this tree. Like everything is done pure in value. Look closely at the feathers, the feathers on these bullfinches. Incredible, right? right next to each other, like right next to it, the exact same medium, the exact same technique. The glassiness, the smoothness, the reflectivity of the eye of the finch, right next to this amazing like texture of the feathers. And the same technique is used to render these leaves in the shadows. And we can just move down and see like it's just so technically impressive. Um, but at the same time, it's technically impressive as it is. What do you feel when you see this? Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. It's a narrative. Like, oh, this birdie's getting food for this birdie. That's nice. Um, but this is the type of thing that he was doing for work, right? But at the same time, um, his development as an artist is also a development in his ability to express compelling emotion.
Hmm.
Uh, and we move here to when he was 86. He's 26. 26. I said 26 or 27. He's 26 now, and he has matured so much as an artist in those 5 years. Look at the like. What's compelling about this? Technically, it's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good, especially considering he did all this in 11 days. 150 cats, right? 11 days. Technically, still very impressive. But how has he matured in those 5 years? Well, he got married, and he loves his wife very, very much. And he's from these caricatures. He's come into his own, um, as I think as a man as well as an artist in those intervening 5 years. Technically, it doesn't have the intricate like hatching of um the finches, but look at the faces. Look at the expressions on these cats. Look at the motion, the movement, all the narrative. And it's not the narrative of like a bird giving food to another bird. It's
Hmm.
it's this guy is really like we've been here. We can empathize with this. Fuck, what do I write? This is really hard. This guy like I feel like this guy's like maybe he's like flowing a little bit. He's kind of in the zone. Um, all these so many stories that are like interesting and compelling and amusing, of course. Um, I feel like right here he's like almost flexing a little bit. He's like, "Well, you thought I couldn't draw like a realistically rendered like cat? Like this is like photorealistic. This cat, this little cat right here. It's so good. Yeah, yeah. Flea flicker. That's there's definitely some of that going on too. Um, you still have the like contrasting values and like everything technical that we mentioned. This like really great sense of perspective and everything, but it's being used to it's being used like oh how do we like unleashed? Unleashed is like not exactly the kind of type of word that I'm looking for, but it's being put towards a very different purpose.
Hmm.
And like it's put towards putting like creating amusing, expressive little kitty cats.
Hmm.
Um, but the fact that he's doing caricatures here, um, it doesn't mean he's lost any of his technical ability, and that's he's just growing as a person. And this is a very difficult time in his life. This
Hmm.
is again like his wife is on her deathbed basically. At the end of this year, Christmas time. And he produces this. The way that he's produced so many caricatures of Peter,
Hmm.
right? And I just like looking at this. I just you know always thinking of like, damn, he really loved his wife.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
Yeah. Because this might like maybe this was like the last kind of thing he could do for her when
Hmm.
she was suffering from illness.
Hmm.
Um, and again, I just wanna like point out before moving on, the development. Uh, and this 21-year-old, um, fresh out of school, art instructor. Um, I think there is an argument that technically this is more impressive, but only if you look at like the finished piece. But 5 years later, how much has he grown?
Hmm.
Wow, it's just
Hmm.
it's incredible. It's incredible. But it doesn't show quite if we're just looking at how the lines are made. where the values are put. You know, it comes out in the expressiveness. It comes out in the how compelling is it emotionally.
Hmm.
He had all the technique for this here, but he wasn't the person that could have made this yet. Um, Same with these like simplistic like children's illustrations. There's nothing to prove. It's just illustrating a children's book.
Hmm.
Um, and this is in the interim. This is much later. So here
Hmm.
um, is before his I would say before his peak, right? 1890 is kind of when he took off really. But this is what started his career. This is some like 24 years later, so he's mid-career, age 50.
Hmm.
Yeah, he could do this. Probably still do this, but you know, he did what his job called him to do. Um,
Hmm.
Children's book illustrations, bringing joy with funny pictures of silly cats, uh, is what he wanted. And then the next work that I have to showcase was one of the last ones he did. Um, not quite the last one we'll look at, but one of the last ones he did. Um, was brown and white cats with plum pudding. Right.
Hmm.
This one was done on the walls of the asylum that he was.
The mirrors.
Yeah, the mirrors of the asylum for Christmas. Again, Christmas.
Hmm.
That's so interesting that there's such a that particular through line at pivotal moments in his life. But
Hmm.
you can see like the purity of expression here. I think has developed so much from this like
Hmm.
technically brilliant but somewhat dry work. You look at this and feel nothing. I personally
Hmm.
feel nothing. I think it's so amazing to like look at and examine and analyze. But I think his maturation as an artist is the utilizing of his technical mastery for like pure expression and
Hmm.
joy being the emotion that he zeroed in on of all the things that he went through and however much he suffered throughout his life. The burden of caring um caring for his mother and sisters financially all by himself his entire life. Uh, the um, suffering of deteriorating mental faculties. You're losing touch with reality, knowing sometimes that what you're thinking and feeling is like out of touch with reality, out of sync. But not being able to deny how really it feels. Like there's so many things that he could have, so many directions he could have gone with his art. But the fact that in the last years of his life, here he's 68, joy is where he went. I feel like that's a choice um, people have. There were so many avenues
Hmm.
open to him, and the fact that he chose joy, something that I think I find very compelling and something that is definitely going to stick with me.
Hmm.
It's so cute.
It is so cute.
Yeah. Also, just again, like maybe this is saying too much, but technically, how impressive is it that he like painted this on a mirror? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like probably like alla prima. He has like probably didn't not more than a day. Just did these cats.
It's like Lady and the Tramp but cat.
Lady and the Tramp of Cats. Yeah, exactly. Like cats do it with plum pudding.
True. So cute.
Yeah, yeah. Super, super cute. And like, yeah, the joy and just like these cats are just so happy to be celebrating together. So he's 68 here. And then the last, I am happy because, and even
Hmm.
more like you can see the reduction in colors and what is in the picture
Hmm.
has been distilled to portraying pure joy through this silly cat, pure joy that he was feeling through this silly cat with nothing extraneous, nothing to distract you from the emotion and the expression and
Hmm.
the connection that you can feel through art. The connection that Lewis built with so many people that they rallied together um, to his care.
Mhm.
and the pure gratitude as well. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's just, I mean, just sitting with that is so moving.
Mhm.
And it's so insulting to say that his skills deteriorated when
Mhm.
he is his journey as an artist was moving from this, frankly joyless and inert, if beautiful. Like it's dead. This art is beautiful, but kind of dead.
Mhm.
To this, which is still so beautiful, but
Mhm.
so alive, right?
Mhm.
Um, you can't be technically incompetent as an artist to be so economical and to transition your values so well, between these tones. I just like, one last little like defense of Lewis Wayne's technical ability in his
Mhm.
later years. The fact that he put it to use, expressing pure joy and gratitude instead of depicting like, I don't know, all the like tiny like little fur strands of hair on this cat doesn't mean it wasn't there. It was just in service of this pure expression and making something so compelling that this image alone is a legacy in itself. Um,
Mhm.
it's just amazing. And Lewis Wayne as a person, I'm really glad I got to explore his work and his life with you, Denko.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so fun learning about uh it really resonates with me, so I'm really glad you liked him, and it's just really sweet how much.
Sorry, it was really sweet. What you cut out of there?
Oh, sorry. It was really sweet how much of a wife guy he.
Yeah, a wife guy for the ages. A
Yeah.
wife guy for the fucking ages, and that's just something that's very sweet to me too. It's just so
Mhm.
um like I like yeah, all this stuff about him as an artist, but him as a man, I find very admirable as well.
Yeah.
Um, how committed to art and committed to his wife he was, and he found a way
Yeah.
to bring those together. And in a way, it's kind of his love for his wife that like made him the artist that he was. It's really love and joy and gratitude that is Louis Swain's legacy through this piece,
Yeah.
and the reason that he did caricatures of cats, right? Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
Just to make his wife happy.
yeah, love
And ease
and
her
joy and
pain.
gratitude,
Yeah.
hmm and trying to ease someone's burdens.
Mhm.
And I think that knowing that those are things that can inform your art, those are things that it can inform your expression. It doesn't have to be suffering and sadness and anguish and grief and whatever people talk about.
Mhm.
Um, I love Lewis Wayne as a counterexample to that.
Mhm. Me too.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much. Anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of Lewis Wayne, his work, or um, the context that he lived in?
No, I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me, though. I had a blast.
Me too. Me too. It
Yeah.
was awesome. Um, a very very quick 2.5 hours. To be honest,
Yeah.
um, I'm gonna definitely like stretch and get some lunch now, and probably look at some more. So get some more art because I'm definitely in that mood now. Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Flea Flicker, thank you so much for taking the time to come by and to chat it up a little bit. I appreciate you and
Mhm.
your input as well. But yeah,
Yeah. Bye
bye
bye.
bye. Bye.